record as well so that we both have it.
There we go. Yay, Cindy's here. Okay, so for people who are just joining us, hi, Michelle. Wendy, hello. If you haven't told us where you're calling in from, go ahead and put that in the chat. We just kind of want to see where everybody is at. Jason Shimada, if you're here, go ahead and put it in the chat. Dina, LA representing. We have got a lot. So we have LA, Ohio, Texas, Virginia. Awesome. Oh my gosh, great. New York. Yay. Oh my goodness. Great. And Hawaii. Yes, exactly. We have Hawaii definitely representing, Arizona representing. Great. Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. And I know that some of you have come, from my, because you know me, some people know Pamelah. We're going to kind of open this up and just talk a little bit about who Pamelah, Pamelah, do you want to introduce yourself really briefly?
Yes. And so I'm going to put myself on speaker view while I'm doing that. Maybe. No, I've got you on speaker view. So I'm going to have to go back to gallery view. Okay. So I'm Pamelah Landers. I'm currently living in San Jose. I've met some of you living other places because I've moved a lot and around California. And Stephanie and I met 10 plus years ago in San Jose, actually, in Santa Clara, at a live event, and have been dear friends ever since. So I love being in communication with people, and feel very excited that you all said yes to being here. This is so much fun for us that you said yes to being here. So yeah, we have lots of exciting things coming up. So, all right, it's Stephanie.
Pamelah, I feel like I got to finish out your bio there, buddy. Like, she's a 20 plus expert in hand analysis, which is all about purpose and meaning. And she's super intuitive. She's one of my go-to people. And I know that you guys who know me know that I don't say intuitive lightly, right? Like I don't just go to any intuitive. She's one of my go-to people. She's been there for me through major challenges, major shifts. She saw me before I would say I saw myself. Back in 2008 and 2009. Okay. So we've evolved together. We often meet and mastermind, together. And then literally it started that way in terms of what we're birthing here today. So I just love that everyone's here. Hi, Dina says hello to us in the chat.
Hi, Dina.
Yeah. So Pamelah is amazing. And to have her here and to be able to share some of her wisdom today, I'm super excited. And then to have all of you here witnessing and being a part of this, this is exciting, because guess what? It's not just you watching us. This is a co-creative process. So every single one of you that is here is a co-creator, is somebody who has listened to be here for a reason. And we're going to ask you to engage, just like we asked you to share where you are. We're going to ask you different questions throughout this, because this is about you and how we can serve you the best. So who am I?
Yeah, who are you?
Yeah, who am I? I don't know. We're the universal cause of light. No, I am Stephanie Beebe, and I am a business intuitive and coach. And ultimately, I believe I'm here to help shift and change and birth a new world. What that means is to really create a paradigm shift in terms of how we operate, how we connect with each other, how we build business to honor who we really are and who we're here to serve. And I am so excited to be here today. I know it sounds silly to be excited during this really crazy, chaotic space we're in, but I see opportunity and I see possibility, and I see it birthing people like you, each one of you. Just seeing you just makes my heart open. I get a little teary to see each one of you here, because these are the people, I'm talking to you, who want to be a part of a different conversation. How exciting is that? Right? How exciting is that? So I want us, because we know this isn't just about us and what we're here to share. We both did tune in, and we've been tuning in, and we've been getting, downloads. And I got up at 6 o'clock this morning with, woo.
I know that.
Right? We all know that feeling. I don't know why. Is everyone muted?
Well, I put it on for everybody to be muted.
Okay,
but
just make sure everyone's muted by us, just because we want a good recording for people who aren't here.
Yes. Oh, hold on a second. You have to unmute yourself now.
Okay. I thought it was like mute, pause. Our first time doing this, so thank you for your grace in hearing us. I want us all to take a moment. I want us to walk us through just a quick grounding to connect our hearts. Is that okay? Do we have permission? Give me a high five, thumbs up. Awesome. All right. So let's take a moment to just drop in, to close our eyes and just feel into our bodies. Feel in to your shoulders, just pulling it, even your shoulders up to your ears and pulling them down. Just notice your breath. And I just want you to bring your energy, right, with your mind's eye, bring your energy from your head down into your body. Check in with your heart space. Check in with your gut. Check in with even how you're sitting on the seat and your hips. And just bring all of you here into this space. For you are a co-creator. You are a part of this process. Every role that we take as a listener, as we bring our attention into this present moment as a creator, I just want you to recognize the rhythm of your body, of your life. And feel into the hearts of everyone here. If you can just feel us, like seeing us stand in a circle, holding our hands, washed hands. I had to. Oh, right. We're standing in a circle, holding each other's hands and just feeling our hearts connect no matter where you are on the globe right now. And in this collective space, I want you to set an intention for yourself of what you want to co-create and receive today. And just take note of that. You can open your eyes, you can write it down. And if you feel called, share it with us. Share it in the chat. What is your intention? What is it that you would like to co-create today? Talking about intention, living with intention is about really living from a space of consciousness, right? Like, yeah, some people are saying love, inspiration, connection. Yes. Awesome. A balanced planet. Yes, please. Love, spaciousness. Yes, yes. Clarity and forward momentum. I agree. Higher connection, reuniting. Great. Oh yeah, reuniting with your partner who's living in fear. Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure that is a big one that for people, right? Yes. Beautiful. Your ability to tune in, setting the ego aside. Yes, yes, yes. Good. Good. Great. So I'm going to pass the baton to you, Pamelah, and have you open up with what we know is the first conversation in, I'm sure, many. So I'm going to put myself on mute and let you take the floor.
Thank you. So I wanted to share how we got here and why we are doing what we're doing here. And that is about maybe a month ago, Stephanie and I were having a conversation just like we do on a regular basis. And something came up about creating some kind of interview series. So we met last week, I don't know, the week before, and we were talking about it. I think that was really only on Tuesday last week that we had a meeting, and we were going through the 3 different topics of sex, money, and something else that I can't remember what it was.
Power.
Sex, money, and power, and what we were going to, and then we were in the money conversation, and something came up in my field that something I said, Stephanie's intuition got triggered, as it does, and she said, I have to stop you right there. We need to talk about this. So we had a conversation about some belief system that I was carrying that actually came from my father that I was still giving my power away to, that had to do with being an entrepreneur. And he said to me, I don't know how you could be successful as an entrepreneur. I don't see you being successful as an entrepreneur. And somehow I took that in. So I taught her a system of how to help me clear that. And when we finished clearing it, I said, oh my God, I think it just needs to be you and me doing what we're going to be doing that we do so well together, which is share our wisdom and support people in the multiple tools that we both have to help people. So that's how this was born. And it was such a profound consciousness for us to be so willing to pivot in the moment to what was more true than what we had planned, and follow our intuition to trust. And here we are with all of these amazing people who have said, yes, we would love to be part of this conversation with you. So welcome to our world.
Really
Yes.
quickly on that, I love that that's going to pivot into the actual conversation, that you were going to kick off on. And I just want to kind of bring a little bit of attention to some people that are here that are still saying things like birthing their, public presence, celebrating their gifts, generosity, finding their inner guru. Yes, I love that. The permission to be eloquent. Yes, right. To like one project at a time, like feeling like you can get some momentum. Being called to serve now in this time of crisis. Yes. Like these are the intentions. These are the people that are here. We're sharing in this intention together. And I love what you shared, Pamelah, about that story is that it really is a co-creation between us, right? And it's a co-creation between everyone that's here. And we probably will be doing some healing. I mean, I have a feeling we're going to shift some stuff. I got some cold hands. The energy is running. I wanted to tell people who don't know me, because I am on camera and I forget this, I do yawn and I do feel chills and I look like I have Tourette's, and that's all cool. So just know that that's what's happening over here. I'm not doing some cool dance.
When you get the truth, that's when you do it.
When I get
when you get
truth.
truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right. So don't go away, because we're going back to you, because you're going to ask another question now.
Yes, I would love for everyone to just check in with yourselves right now. And I want you to feel what you're feeling. Just what are you feeling? What is the dominant feeling that you have right now? And go ahead and put that. Yay. Thank you, Joy. Put the dominant tightness, okay? So tightness in the stomach, excitement, fatigue. Awesome. Yeah. I say awesome because my belief is anytime we're aware of ourselves in whatever way, it is good. It is feedback. It is a pulse, right? This is a pulse on where you are right now. Anticipation of the unknown, balance.
Distracted, hope, fear, peace.
Yeah.
PMS.
Here, I feel you. Can't calm down, right? Feeling all the energy and the excited. Yep, overwhelm. Oh yeah, thank you, Julia.
Subtle vibrations.
Excitement.
Joy. Today is just a moment in time.
Mm.
A lot of energy moving through my system.
Yeah. Okay, so keep posting if you want
Keep
to. Lots of
posting.
energy.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. And we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, Lana, perfect. Yeah, asking for help and wisdom, hopeful with the grief. Yes, we are in a collective grieving right now. Yes, Katie, thank you.
And thank you for the appreciation and love, Michelle.
Yes.
We love to receive appreciation and love.
Yes.
Being
Okay.
projectors in human design, as we both are, appreciation is a big deal. So yes, I can't remember what we're doing next. Stephanie, you're the one with the schedule. So.
Oh, you're so beautiful. We're going to be talking about, you are opening up with what our mind.
Okay, right. Our topic for today. All right. I love it. I delegated that to her and knew she would track it. And I love that I can do that. Part of being a leader is delegating. One of the thing that came up as a topic for today, and if you read any of my emails, you noticed that it was well shared, is about having consciousness around your thoughts. because that's where all of the power is. Everything in your life is, you have control over your thoughts. You may not feel control over anything else, but you have complete control over what you're thinking. And what I know from my life experience and from spending, I don't know, almost as many decades studying the law of attraction as I have hands, that what you focus on with your thoughts is what you're going to create. And you will attract more of that. So if you're focusing on fear, you're going to attract more fear. If you're focusing on pleasure, you're going to attract more pleasure. If you're focusing on joy, you're going to feel more joy. One of the things that I also know is your thoughts about how you hold other people, they will respond to you about through that same filter that you're holding for them. So for example, if you have people in your lives who are in fear and you're not, and you're holding the vision and affirming, oh, they're in fear, then that's the filter through which everything is going to show. If you recognize they're in fear, but you start holding the thought about them, that they can shift that they have other perspectives that they can choose, that they have other perceptions of reality that they could also choose. And you start focusing your energy on that, that can shift the energy in the relationship dynamic. You'll be looking for evidence of something else. So when you change your thought on how you hold somebody else, you start looking for the evidence of a different thought pattern. And they can respond to that, because thoughts are vibrations, thoughts are energy, right? Just like everything in the world is energy. Thoughts are energy, so whatever energy you're aligned with is the energy that you are going to attract more of. Is this making sense to people? Thumbs up, nods. Yeah. So the reason that we wanted to address this, well, first of all, it got channeled that it would be our first, because that's how Stephanie and I pretty much do our work in the world, is we channel pretty much everything and then take inspired action on it. So what was channeled was that this is foundational. Having a relationship and a consciousness about your thought patterns is foundational for your life. No matter what else, anything else that happens, anything else you focus on, anything else you do, any other actions that you take, it's going to come back to your thoughts. And I one of my favorite talking about Abraham Hicks quotes is, there is no amount of action that you can take if you are not energetically lined up. It doesn't matter. There's no amount of action that can compensate for not being energetically lined up. And the energetic lineup is totally related to your thought patterns and your thinking. So any way that it's a growth over time thing. It's not that you have to have it all figured out right now, but to get conscious and pay attention to what your thoughts are is the work, right? That's the path, is getting conscious and paying attention to your thoughts, because in any particular moment, you're free to change them. You don't have to think the same thing you were thinking yesterday or last night or this morning or 2 hours ago or 10 minutes ago or 1 minute ago. You have complete control over changing your thoughts, but it does require being conscious of what you're thinking. And one of the places this comes from for me at a very personal level is, as a hand analyst, my life lesson, the growth area and challenge based on my fingerprints, is being mean to myself, being self-critical and self-rejecting. So I've had to get super conscious, and it has taken me time to get super conscious about how I talk to myself. What is my mind chatter? And when I notice I'm having a bad hair day and I'm mean to myself about my bad hair day, one of my tools that I had to develop is to change topics and to focus on something else that feels good. So instead of focusing on, and I have curly hair, my hair can go bad, especially if I'm, by water. It can look awful to me. Other people don't think so, but in my opinion, it looks yucky. When I was in Hawaii last summer for 2 weeks, it was like, oh my God, hair issues every day. So when I get conscious of the fact that I'm being mean to myself about it, then my focus is, what can I focus on? Oh, I love the color I'm wearing today. I'm wearing this really cool necklace today. So I'm like, okay, I'm wearing this really hot necklace and I look really good in this color, right? So I could just change immediately and I could feel my energy shift immediately. So this is one of my favorite tools that I use on a regular basis, is paying attention to my thoughts and changing to something that feels better. It doesn't have to feel fabulous. It doesn't have to feel great. And I often have to change to a different topic altogether in order to feel better. Because sometimes if I get stuck in a rut in a negative mind chatter, then it's hard to get out of it by focusing on that topic. But once I change the topic to something that feels good, then there's freedom to be dealing with going back to the topic that didn't feel good and make changes to that. So that's the focus of today's conversation. So that's why we were asking you what feeling, because your feelings will tell you, it's your indicator of what you're thinking.
Very much so. There's some questions that came up about some of the things you shared, Pamelah, but before we get there, I do want to honor that, when we say we can control our thoughts, it's not that we can control every thought.
Right.
We can't. There's a huge unconscious, system that runs through us that oftentimes we have thoughts that we don't even know, like, where did that pop in? Where we become in control or focused on it is when we start to like watching your language and noticing like, oh, I'm focusing on my bad hair versus this beautiful sky, right? So sometimes it's just about shifting our focus versus like controlling the thoughts. So I just had this consciousness to explain the difference between the two. And I know that some of this we share, everyone's like, I know this. Okay, guess what? You can know something and it doesn't mean you're practicing it. So we're inviting you to like basically look at, where can I practice more conscious thinking or more loving thoughts right now with myself, with my environment, with the world, right? So we're just inviting you into a conversation. And I believe when we share universal truths, this should not be like, aha, Pamelah and Stephanie know everything. It should actually be like, shoot, I know this. I know this. And come back to what you do know, right? Like coming back to, I need to practice our universal thought, right? The thought of, are we holding the space that what we're going through as a crisis is going to lead us to a better place, right? Are we cocooning right now and things are breaking down and dying off so that something else can be birthed, right? So there's a difference in perspective. So I just want to bring that in. One of the questions that you brought up was, if someone else is in fear and the space that you hold for them. Somebody asked, I think it was Jason, he asked, can we do that, the space holding piece, via text or voice chat, or do we have to actually talk to the person, or can you talk more about that?
Energetically. Just energetically. You do it inside of yourself. It's how you look at them, how you view them, your mental mind chatter about how they're behaving and how they're acting or what they're thinking or feeling. You hold them in a different viewpoint. So if you're with somebody who's feeling complete fear now about what's going on and you're not, can you imagine that person, and I think I said this, but I'll say it in a different way. Can you imagine that fear is not the only belief system that person has access to? It's not the only feeling that person has access to. And can you imagine that person has access to other feelings, and start looking at, I wonder what other feelings I could imagine this person could express. Does that make sense? Did that answer the question?
I believe so.
Some people, when they're in fear, aren't desirous of getting out of it by you talking to them. Like, they don't want you to talk them out of it because they have some reason that they're very attached to it. So starting on the energetic level is actually a really good place to begin, because it creates a different vibration of relationship between you.
Something else.
Go ahead.
I love that. And something else that comes up for me is also, it's okay. Like, just, like, say my partner's in fear. Oh, how I'd wish I had a partner right now. No, just joking. But Quarantine alone isn't always the easiest thing in the world. I have a 6-year-old, but he goes to dad's part of the time. But what I'm getting is that, the consciousness that we hold for another is also like, where is our uncomfortableness in it? So like if someone's in fear and I'm uncomfortable in their fear, is that also a space for me to kind of go into, like, maybe there's a space in me that hasn't honored my own fear, right? So,
Right.
and what I mean by that is I'm not saying sit in it for like a year or a week. But I am saying that what comes up needs to be honored, just needs to be witnessed, right? It's kind of like turn towards the ghost. Let's witness the fear, right? So if you're uncomfortable in someone else's response, I would also welcome you to do this witnessing of what is yours, right? This witnessing of like, is there some place I haven't really honored my own fear, right? And in the witnessing, it releases attention too. It's almost, that's what I've noticed. Like if someone's in fear and it's bringing up some uncomfortableness for me, and then as I witness my own fear or my own uncomfortableness in it, it almost creates that space for me then to like play with the possibility of what other thoughts could be here, right? Whatever, possibility is
Right.
there. Is that resonating?
Totally. For me. I mean, does it resonate with other people?
Yeah.
You
Dina
get
just
what
said,
she's saying?
yeah. Dina just said, appreciating synchronicity. She said at noon, I was talking about how my inner critic is on fire since yesterday afternoon. My inner critic is, as you mentioned, Pamelah, very mean and
I
becoming aware of
know.
the vicious thoughts. Yes. Right. Our inner critic, man. I get
Not
it.
just yours, Dina. We all have a very mean inner critic. Yeah.
And Pauline, yes, thank you. Thank you for that acknowledgement.
Okay.
So just bringing up, that awareness. So there was some other,
And I just want to add one more sentence to what you're saying.
Go for
It's so powerful to feel your feelings all the way through, which takes a minute or two. It's not going to go on forever. When you have permission to completely feel the truth of what you're feeling, it moves very fast. But if you push it away and don't feel it, it stays and it won't go away.
Let's
So feel your feelings.
Let's talk about that. Jerry brought up a great question. What about our emotions, our body, our spirit? Yes. So emotions are a huge part of it. Our emotions, our feelings come from our thoughts, right? It's not just a feeling. The feeling just doesn't come. The feeling comes because there's a story running. There's a thought. There's a process. Super important to pay attention to the two, right? What thought, what process, how am I looking at the world that's creating the feelings? When we honor our feelings, like what you just said, it doesn't have to stay. It's like a storm that passes and the rainbow comes and the sun comes. But if we ignore the storm, if we ignore the feelings, and I'm going to get really honest with you guys. I believe that we live in a society that is emotionally illiterate, that we do not have a capacity for feeling things, literally, that we literally only allow ourselves to be joyful. And that's like the only thing you can ever be is just be joyful, be a smile, say fine, you're great. When in reality, we are not. In reality, throughout life, throughout our day, we feel many different things. And I hold the vision for an authentic world that can actually feel. And I believe that as we give ourselves permission to be in our feelings, however we want to judge them, good, bad, ugly, I don't believe anything has any meaning. It's all a spectrum of emotion, right? It's all a spectrum of energy. But when we expand our consciousness around our spectrum of those feelings, then we can hold the space for anything and everyone, including ourselves.
Especially ourselves. Where it has to start.
That's where it has to start.
If you're in my world, you've probably heard me say once or twice that self-love is the bottom line. So I do believe that it does start with us.
And it is a very self-loving thing to honor ourselves in a loving way, right? The inner critic comes up a lot, right? It's been coming up. And one of the things I said to my client the other day, I said, what if you just looked at the inner critic and said, I want to hear you, but I don't respond to the way you're speaking to me right now. That is not the tone I can hear you in, right? So if you want to give me feedback, I'd love to hear you, but you're going to need to change your tone. Imagine if we just talk to our inner critic that way, right?
Right. We don't have to believe everything the inner critic says.
Yes. And Katie just said emotions can be the guide if we don't judge them. Exactly. Debbie said, amen. Yes.
And
Yes.
Katie said, I believe we're in a time to stop and to be with our discomfort, uncertainty, excitement. Feel them, notice them. There is so much information to receive. And I totally agree with you, Katie. That's what we've been saying, but I like how you language that as well.
Beautiful.
And emotions are our guide, not only can be, they are, our emotions tell us exactly what our vibration is. Exactly. It's an exact match to our vibration.
Angela says, but what if our inner critic is telling us something we need to know or realize about ourselves and that we need to improve? I totally agree. So Angela, I believe the inner critic always has wisdom. I believe everything that shows up, by the way, is wisdom. So even my bad feelings is wisdom. It is a pulse on where I am. It is a pulse on where the universe is. It's a pulse on my connection to it. So our inner critic is definitely plays a powerful role in getting us information. And I would encourage you that you don't have to talk to yourself that way. That the information can actually come in a kind form, and that you can retrain the inner critic to be like, you got to check yourself because that's not how I talk to myself. Do you understand? That's not appropriate in my space, because here's the thing. If our inner critic is able to talk to us in a mean and careful, not non-loving way, that means we're creating an energy that anybody can come in and speak to us in a non-loving way. So the way to train that energy, right, to like really formate that energy around us, is to also to recalibrate that inner critic to speak kindly. It doesn't mean that the information isn't accurate, but it doesn't have to speak to us like, your hair looks so stupid, right? Or how do you think, right? Like that tone. It can be, wow, Pamelah, your hair is really reacting interesting to this weather. And then that's your sign that like, oh, I really want my hair to look different, right? Oh, I really want my hair to be different. I want to care for my, or I want to feel different with my hair looking like this, or whatever the energy is, or that, right? But the tone of it doesn't have to be this way, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, and you get to create the relationship with your inner critic.
Exactly.
It does not have power over you. It is a co-creator with you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And
yes.
I want to also emphasize something you said about however you talk to yourself. And I know Dr. Phil used to say this, you train people how to treat you, but however you're talking to yourself, that's your vibration. People will match your vibration. It's the universe's job to match your vibration. The universe's only job is to match your vibration. The only job of the universe. So whatever you're vibrating, the universe is going to match it. So this is why having control over your thoughts will attract different people into your life, or different conversations, or how they talk to you, because you're changing your self-talk. You're changing your mind chatter, and you're doing it in a conscious way.
And you know what's so interesting about
that will attract a whole different kind of conversation with other people.
Completely. And you know what's so interesting is I always like to look at where, when something outside of me is so contrast, right? Like, do I hold that belief about myself? There's a part of me that's like, well, even if I can't see the contrast, I can't see the direct connection. What I can say to myself is, where can I be more kind? And I think this is where we both practice, because I think this is a great part to talk about appreciation.
Yes.
And how we both practice appreciation, right? We practice self-appreciation, right? And so, by the way, some of you listening to this might be like, oh, I practice appreciation. But we're talking about self-appreciation, radical self-appreciation throughout the day that even honors the icky, like hard stuff. And that this is a form of self-love. So I would love for you to share more about your self-appreciation practice, Pamelah.
Yes, I will. And I wanted to respond to something Jerry said, because he wrote in a comment, I tell the IC, thank you for sharing, but I'm in another conversation right now. One of the things that creates intimacy in relationships is actually listening and being curious about and investigating what somebody else is actually feeling. And yes, you are in a different conversation, and this is an option. You don't have to do this. This is what I would do. I'm in a different conversation than that right now, and I'm really curious what's going on for you and why you're feeling the way you're feeling. What's up with that? Because in the process of them being able to talk about it, they could change their energy. This is one of the things that all of my women friends do really, really well. my friends, because this is the kind of relationships I've cultivated, we call each other and talk through whatever it is that's going on for us, especially when we feel like shit. Because in the process of talking it through, because women do this really well, in the process of talking it through, I get to feel everything I'm feeling, own it, and change my relationship with it, because I get to hear what it is I'm actually telling myself, what my mind chatter. And I get, because of the relationships I've cultivated, I get feedback.
So
Because I
he's
ask.
talking about the IC as the inner critic. So you're basically saying the IC is inner critic. So you're basically saying don't just ignore it, like actually stop and listen and create intimacy.
Yes.
And this is what I've been practicing, right? This is like the
Yeah.
whole intimate leader stuff that I've been building on, of like, where are we deeply listening to ourselves? Like, where do we actually create space to honor our own voices, to honor our own feelings, to honor our own thoughts? And it's not about judging what comes through, right? Because let's be honest, if any of us on this call have not thought about where money is going to, like, you know, how our money channels are going to change, how our living situations might change, like the impact of our economy, of what's going on right now. I'd love to know if there's anybody on this call who hasn't thought about how what's going on right now has affected their own income. I'm pretty sure it's going to be zero, right? So point is that it's not about what I do think, judging what comes out, but it is about creating the space for myself. So that reminds me of a tool I use. First 15 minutes of the day, after I get out of bed, go to the restroom, stretch, I take my journal and I'm with myself. Just 15 minutes a day, where I'm just like, how you doing, Stephanie? How'd you sleep today? Like, I'm literally checking in, like, as a lover. Like, some of us who have lovers that you text, you're like, good morning, you're so sweet. But we don't necessarily do that for ourselves. And I would just invite you during this time to just take 15 minutes of your morning and connect in with yourself. And if you don't want to journal, you don't have to, but you can just sit with yourself. You can be with yourself. You can have your cup of coffee, your tea, whatever. And you can just check in with where you are. And some days might be heavy, and it's okay. Don't try to fix yourself. Just honor what's there by witnessing it. Witnessing, like, wow, Steph, feels a little heavy today. You feel a little heavy. What's going on? Oh, you're stressed. Okay. Right? Yeah, you're worried about, you haven't got your masks that you need to have so that you can go to the store, or, whatever it is. But it's about that witnessing and that honoring and committing to, like, at least 10 or 15 minutes of your morning with yourself. To me, when we connect with ourselves, we're also connecting with the universal energy. We're talking to God, source, whatever your belief system is, but it's also about connecting in with the greater plan. Because I can tell you right now, there is no accident that we are born at this time. I truly believe, and I know, Pamelah, we both said this, that we were born for this. Right. We were born to be during this time. With the tools, with the processes, with the things we've been through, have prepared us to be here now. And there is no accident that every single one of you who are listening to this is also true. That you prepared for this. I have a client, I think she's on, I won't out her, but she was like, I knew this was coming. I've known this was coming. I'm prepared, And it was just like reminding me, I'm like, yes, of course. We just need to be reminded of that, right? And talking about appreciation, we use this all the time. Appreciating, right? Your inner critic. Can you give us an example of what you do in appreciation?
Okay, so this is a tool I've been using for 6 years, and it's a daily practice. I've been doing it for 6 years, being witnessed with other people, because I've had that opportunity, and some of the rest of you done this as well. That my friend Dawn Nocera introduced to me is the self-appreciation tool about appreciating everything about who I am, the fabulous, great, amazing stuff, in equal balance to the crappy stuff. Because if I just only appreciate the crappy stuff and never own the great stuff that here's a couple rampage of appreciation. I'm a fabulous hand analyst. I have read over 50,000 hands, and I can look at somebody's hands and immediately see the pattern in their hands. I'm amazing at it. And on the not so good side, I don't like to pick up the phone and call clients. I like to have conversations with clients, and I like to schedule everything through email. I don't like to pick up the phone and call somebody. That's so not my thing. So my marketing strategy in that area really sucks. And I am not good at picking up the phone and just following up with people. So I've probably lost some business as a result of not liking to pick up the phone. I appreciate that's true about me. I'd much rather email or text and do something in writing than I would pick up the phone to do that conversation. I think people are great at that. I love it, but me, not so much. So I can appreciate the truth of both of those things. Like that's an example of, and I appreciate all the hard stuff that comes up, and I appreciate all the amazing stuff and all of just the average stuff that comes up, and it's changed my life. Changed my life. And I know all of you who have participated in this have had that experience as well.
And we want to be, so Dottie was just asking, what is the appreciation tool? The appreciation tool is self-appreciation. And it's about honoring everything that comes up. So say I'm in a funky space, I'd be like, I am appreciating that I'm aware that I am in a funky space right now. I'm appreciating the fact that I don't want to do anything about the space that I'm in right now. I'm appreciating the fact that, like, even though I'm in this funky space, that really what I want to do is go eat a piece of chocolate, but I'm appreciating that I'm not going to go eat that piece of chocolate because I'm aware that I want to eat that piece of chocolate. I'm appreciating the fact that maybe I just want to cry and I just need to cry right now. And I'm just going to appreciate the fact that I'm giving my space to cry, right? Like whatever that is like you're appreciating what is, and you're not making yourself wrong for it, and you're finding what you can appreciate. So it's hard when you're in anger to appreciate it, but what you can appreciate is your awareness of being in the angry state. You're appreciating the fact that I have friends that I can reach out to, right? Stuff like that. So, but we practice it and we say it out loud. We actually are in a group where we practice this and witness this for each other daily, throughout the day, 2 or 3 times a day right now. And so some of the tools, I just want to recap some of the things that you can do for yourself is that you can start to practice appreciation. And that, thank you, Paulina. I know you have to jump, and we'll make sure to get the recording to you. Thank you so much for being here and all the work that you're doing. Pauline has a really powerful story. It's really important that you practice appreciation during this time. And this is different than just gratitude. And different. It's different than gratitude. Gratitude is being thankful for all the things that you have out here. Oftentimes
outside.
Appreciation and self-appreciation is about what's in here. It's about witnessing yourself. It's about giving to yourself. And I can tell you, some of you, and I have clients that push back on me on this a lot. They're like, so uncomfortable. It takes like 30 minutes to like get them to do 3 appreciations about themselves. So I can tell you that if you want to receive more, then you need to learn to receive from yourself. The best way you can learn to receive from yourself is to self-appreciate. Best way to know whether or not you can really receive from yourself, stand in the mirror, look yourself right in the eye, and start giving yourself appreciations. I love you. I appreciate that you're standing here during this tumultuous time. I appreciate that you got out of bed this morning. I appreciate that you took a shower this morning. I appreciate you're brushing your teeth. I appreciate that you can, that you can be grateful that the sun is still getting up in the morning, right? Like rising, whatever it is. But I can tell you that when you start to practice giving to yourself and appreciating yourself, it's like the world opens up. But listen, when you first start, I did this. For the first 2 years, it was like nails on a chalk.
I remember that.
It was so uncomfortable. It's like, this is so fucking stupid. And you know why? Because I wasn't used to talking kindly to myself. I wasn't used to giving and celebrating. It makes me cry. That makes me cry. Because how sad is it that we are not trained to celebrate ourselves, to celebrate how much effort and energy it takes to hold all of what we are creating, right? This should be a given. This should be given to our tools when we get born, right? Believe me, I'm trying to change that with my son who's 6, teaching him to appreciate himself, right? But I can tell you, I can't just tell him. I have to practice it. I have to practice it on the daily. I have to forgive myself. And that's part of the way, forgiveness. Some people go to forgiveness and do that tool. And I love Ho'oponopono. It's such a powerful practice. And I definitely would be using that now. And I also believe that appreciation is one of the most powerful, potent, underestimated, right? Understated tools that we could use, especially right now. And appreciation is really about appreciating what you can about yourself in this space. And I can tell you, for some of you, this isn't even resonating. Some of you are going to be like, I don't even understand what she's saying. She's speaking Spanish right now. Right? And that's okay, because it's recorded and you can re-listen to it again, because we're shifting the consciousness here. We're shifting the space that it can be normal. Because here's what I can tell you. I was in a marriage that wasn't very loving. It trained me to have some really bad habits about speaking to myself and my body. I had to retrain that. I'm in the process of still retraining how I speak to my body. Okay. What I recognize now, that when someone makes a comment that's unloving, even remotely like a 1% comment, it does not sit well with me. It's like, that doesn't resonate for me. Right? Where before, maybe it was 50%. It would have to hit like this 50%. It had to be really mean before I could really feel that it was inappropriate. And I truly believe, and let me give you an example of that. It'd be like someone saying, I don't know if I like that outfit on you, when I didn't ask if I didn't ask if you like this outfit on me or this color on me, right? And you're just giving me this. And I'm like, that feels unloving, right? I can then address that with that person directly, or I can choose to not associate with that person. If it's someone who's not really in my field, it's someone I can delete off Facebook, because it's just, you know what, not my people, not resonate, not choosing to have in my feeling, in my circle. Where before, maybe that comment wouldn't have affected me the same way, because I didn't hold the same resonance for myself. Is that making sense, Pamelah?
Yes, and I was going to say, this is also a conversation about your mind chatter, right? Exactly how you talk to yourself and the vibration that you're creating in your field for other people to respond to. This is exactly what we're talking about. The self-appreciation is a very tangible example. Exactly. And thank you for sharing and being so vulnerable and real, as you always are.
I know. I was like, man, I shouldn't wear makeup for this. You know what? I'm sorry. I got to thank everyone and appreciate every single person for being here, because I got to get dressed today. I got to get dressed. I got to like do my hair, like, so this is like, maybe it's for selfish reasons, but I invited you to a party so I could actually take a shower. I'm just saying.
Right.
No, showers
But
on the daily.
yes.
I don't always get ready, but yes.
So yes, this is a very powerful, it's a very, very powerful tool. And we're
I
going
totally agree.
to be talking about this in the future in more depth, and
We
have
are.
some
We have some
practices around it.
awesome ideas around this, but I just want to kind of come back to the comments. They know the feeling. Thanks for the clarity. Awesome. Thanks, Debbie. Very useful. Cool. Self-love isn't, ain't selfish. I agree, Jason. Self-love is the key, right? Self-love, cultivating self-love, being kind to ourselves during this process is also a huge factor now. So we're almost at time, and I just kind of want to open up we shared some tools. I want to recap. We shared about appreciation. We shared about a 15-minute, really intimate, being intimate with yourself, listening to yourself, honoring yourself. We talked about the inner critic and some tools that you can address that with yourself. We talked about thoughts and repurposing your thoughts or re-looking at your thoughts. I also want to talk about perception. What we look at, we give energy, right? What we look at gets our attention, gets our energy. So when we change our thoughts, right? When we shift our perspective, like, so for example, for me, I see the world as definitely getting shooken up, right? We are getting shaken up. Every system across the board on a universal scale is being looked at. And I don't see that as, oh my God, fear, blah, blah, blah. I see it as, oh, I'm so excited for this opportunity. I am so excited for what's going to birth through this chaos. Because I don't know about you, because I'm pretty sure every single one of us has gone through the dark night of the soul. And even though I was in that sticky dark night of the soul, I've been through it several times.
Me
what
too.
I know, right? What I know is on the other side of it, I just love who I become. Like, I love who I become. So I'm looking forward to who we are going to become. Right? And if we hold the consciousness for that, it doesn't mean we negate what we're feeling and not use all this time. That's not what I'm saying. But you can really also look forward to what innovations are going to come from this. About what we can appreciate when our life goes back to whatever new normal is. Right? I can tell you, I'm gonna cherish a freaking hug like I've never cherished a hug before. Right?
Totally. And so we wanted to share what's coming up. So Stephanie.
Well, if there's any questions, I want to invite that. If there are questions, put them in there. I want to make sure that we answer anything that we shared about today. Yep. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for your brilliance. Thank you. Thank you. She's thanking us, Pamelah.
Thank you, Katie. Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. Mwah. Appreciate your energy. So if there's any questions, please put them there. We will make sure to answer them. And we also want to just invite you. So we did this free one. We also have another free class coming up on Tuesday. If this resonated with you and you want to be a part of it, it's about the crisis of meaning and how, what that whole process is. So we're going to dive deeper into the crisis of meaning.
A lot of us are in crisis of meaning and we don't know it. So this is something that comes from the hand analysis world that I have a lot of insight on because both Stephanie and I have this as part of our life purpose. It's how to be in relationship when people are in some kind of identity crisis or in some kind of meaning.
Yes.
Crisis about who they are.
And that's a complimentary master or class like this. You can join us if you do want. We'll send an email to you guys first because we only have so many spots because it's Zoom. We had 50 people register for this, so we will send it to you first, and then you'll have 24 hours basically to choose it, and then we're going to open it up to everybody. So just know that we'll have that link out today. If you do want to, make sure to reserve your space for that. That's also going to be a really awesome conversation. Thank you. Someone's saying, thank you, Pamelah. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yes.
Namaste. Thank you. Good grounding, especially like the energy attraction. Great. Self-talk reminders. Awesome. Thanks, Jerry. Thank you so much. Everyone's just thanking us. So thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for showing up because, Stephanie and I love doing this and it's wonderful to have an audience. So thank you for being our audience and participating and sharing and being vulnerable and telling us your truths. I mean, it's really very fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Reading the chat.
Yeah. So anyone who, this is the conclusion. If you want to kind of check in with where you are right now, who's still on the call, and just feel into where you are right now. What is the feeling right now that you're holding? So just check in and notice how you're feeling. Yummy. Well, that's exciting, Debbie. I love that. I love the word yummy. I use the word yummy all the time. I love yummy. Awesome. Peaceful. Great. Still excited, but peaceful. I love that. Awesome. Yay. Spacious. Well, that's awesome. Peace. Perfect. Grateful. Hopeful. Thank you, Pamelah and Stephanie. Thank you, Stephen. Validation. Peacefulness. Excited. Anticipation. Awesome. Great. Great. So as you can see, we spent maybe 50 minutes together, 55 minutes together, and you were able to shift some of those fear, whatever energy to excited, joy, peace, hope, yumminess. I mean, that's 50 minutes of being together. So if you'd like to have that experience again, join us on Tuesday morning. It's going to be 10 a.m. my time, Hawaii, 1 p.m. Pacific time. We'd love to be in there in the crisis of meaning and see what comes through. I mean, really, we have like a thought and then we have a couple things and then we just open up and we feel into the energy. This isn't scripted. This is really much about feeling the pulse of all that is here. So thank you so much for being a part of this co-creation. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for being here. Remember, there is no accident. There is no accident. You are here and you were chosen to be here, not just in this session, in this call, in this masterclass, but you were chosen to be on this planet this time. And that means you have the tools. That means you have the access. That means you have the wisdom and the spaciousness within you to access that. Yeah. Awesome. And and we do have a there is a global meditation happening. Deepak is leading it. I think it's like at 4:45 my time, 7:45 Pacific.
Or 9:45 or something.
Or yeah, it's something.
Actually started in India.
So it's been all going around the whole globe today.
Yeah.
Yep, going around the whole globe. Yep, awesome.
Yeah, so
I will be a part of it. Yep, I'll be a part of it too tonight.
7:30 Pacific, maybe.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank you, everyone,
global
for being
meditation.
here. We appreciate
Thank you so much, everyone.